Hello everyone, how you doing? Welcome back to Skye and Evan in the morning. And we're back here this morning to talk about Rango. Hi Evan, how you doing?
I am doing well, Skye.
Good.
Rango indeed.
What did you
It's,
think of Rango?
it, I I'm having a tough time comparing it to anything because the animation is super unique.
It is.
It it does not feel like Pixar or DreamWorks or like
It's
they're
literally a
emulating
Nickelodeon
anything.
film. It's amazing. Like
Yeah, it's the irony when you watch this opening credits. It's like, oh wow, that's I did not expect anything resembling quality from them. It's like when Sony locked in with Spider-Verse.
yeah. It's
Sony
like
Animation
they
made
did
nothing good
the
before.
Emoji Movie right after comes the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, but I one of the first things that stood out to me, I love how like highlighted all the animation is. Like one of the first effects that you get is just the water. Like they treat it like the desert is so hot that the water just like instantly is gone and like you just get all this like water evaporating when his tank breaks and stuff like that and they they emphasize like the scale of everything. I mean, like the Toy Story movies do this, for instance, but like there's such a sense of scale to like all the different animals, like based on like stuff like the hawk and rattlesnake Jake. Like so many of the animals are bigger than each other, and so much of like the things around them are like bigger or small.
Mhm. Yeah, I love the animation. I love the detail, just in like character design, especially like every citizen of Dirt is just like super fucking unique. Like there's that guy with the arrow through his head.
Yeah.
Like every one of them has like a unique quirk. You're like, oh my god, that's amazing. Like all of them. The animation is
Well,
fantastic. And you wouldn't expect that. It's like it's Nickelodeon.
yeah, and the supporting voice cast is kind of stacked. You got like Stephen
Yeah.
Root, you got Harry Dean Stanton. Like, there's a bunch of like supporting actors in this movie that have a decent name to themselves, and it's really good. Like the it's said like by like the spirit. I think that like it's about them. It's about the like people of the village, and it really is. Like this, the main character of this movie isn't really Rango. It's like how the town reacts to like all of this because Rango's just like you know, spinning lies the entire time and, making things up as he goes along, but like it's the whole town that's kind of characterized. And a lot of westerns do this, of course.
Yeah. Which is kind of why I prefer the extended version to the theatrical ending, because they do the the thing this they even say like explicitly like, oh, to protect the city one must lose their sense of self, and so he must give all his self for the city. It's like a very Western idea. And then the girl, she just says, "Oh, so this is when we get the the sunset shot, right?" It's like, yeah, and then we get Rango doing the sunset shot. It's nice. It's like the whole movie's like that. It's just like making fun of, but at the same time loving the
Yeah.
idea of westerns. Like it is extremely self-referential, but it is self-referential in a way that like the film loves westerns, and it's making fun of its tropes and everything, like with the fucking Indian owl. That I thought that was hilarious. They kept trying to make it so that Rango was always like, "Oh, your connection to the spirits or anything." It's like, no, I just saw like the marks for the people run away. You just saw where they went. It's hilarious. Like they make fun of that trope, the Indian guy who has some deep knowledge of nature and can sense things. They just make fun of that, and they make fun of so many things in westerns, but they do it really like lovingly, in a way that like, yeah, we know this is like a stupid fun thing that happens in westerns, but we enjoy it as well. This is, we enjoy westerns. It's like it's paying homage at the same time being kind of a parody of sort.
Well, I don't even think it's just westerns. I think it's almost the idea of telling a story and like making fun of like how a story is told because Rango like he really is a blank slate in this movie. They make fun of the opening when he's in his like cage before like on in the
My
car and they're
character is
like
undefined.
"We need-"
What do you
yeah,
mean? I'm
like
the guy. I'm the hero.
It's like we need some conflict in the story, and then I was laughing so hard. That was such a funny joke. Like when his tank's flying and then just smashes on the ground. It's like they just throw him into the story, and he just fills the role of the hero. And
Yeah.
I think like there's a ton of like calling attention to like the tropes of like just a basic story and like
Hmm.
basic like
Well,
journey of character.
that's what I mentioned to you before we I set up for us to watch it. I said this is basically a film about the hero's journey, and it is just like going through the steps of the hero's journey in a very self-referential, like acknowledging way. Like, yeah, this is what the hero's journey is, and we're gonna put our character through it. Like when he even gets like his death and rebirth scene where he talks to the spirit of the
Yeah,
west. Like he just
which
goes and kills
by
himself on the road, and he just sees the spirit of the west. It's like the mentor,
that
the guide.
that highway shot was dark shit. I'm blown away they could get away with that in a PG movie like this
Yeah.
because that
Well, this
was
movie, I
like
feel like it's so often it tries to push like the the rating. You're like, no way is this like a PG movie. Surely it's more because there's even like there's some
yeah.
sex jokes, and there's like the character designs are
Yeah.
insane, and there's like actual deaths. Like characters just die in the film.
Yeah, they get murdered like full out like a Western mystery, and it's just I'm used to like PG-13 movies that like push the bar and are like almost R. I'm like, this is like a PG movie that is really pushing it to PG-13,
Yeah.
which I love because that's so rare with animated movies. Animated movies usually feel sanitized and it feels like they can't do certain things.
Yeah, it's part of what I loved about this movie. Is just it is completely itself. It is not trying to censor anything. Which is also why I love the extended cut more, because the theatrical, I feel like they cut out the ending because it was a little too self-referential. But the extended was just like, nah, this is the ending we want to have.
Yeah. I feel like the theatrical, my guess was to like keep it so that like the focus was all on Rango rather than like everyone else, which is ironic because I was just saying that like the whole
Yeah.
town is kind of the point of the movie, but it is like an examination of him and his story. So like I mean I literally haven't seen it. I'd have to like
Yeah.
watch. What differences are there in the extended? Is it just the ending and like a
There's a
few
few lines of
scenes or
dialogue,
it's
nothing much, and the ending is just like an entirely new scene.
hmm, interesting. I'll probably watch that on my second go around.
Yep. Yeah, it's for first time I watched the extended actually, because I always had it, but I was just like, let me watch the original. Because every time I watch it with someone, I'm like, let's watch the theatrical version because it's like the definitive version. But since I had already seen it many times, I thought for today, like, if I only have time to watch one, I'll watch the extended, so I'd actually know the differences. And it's just like genuinely like a couple lines of dialogue throughout the movie, and then the ending is different, like quite different.
Huh.
I'm never a huge fan of like stuff changing like so drastically between cuts.
Yeah, it's sometimes like the director like really can have the biggest one is Ridley Scott because Kingdom of
Yeah,
Heaven and a couple of others like there are films that have cuts that like significantly change events or like there's plot points that are cut out that like improve the characters of the story and it's just that's and like those are like cases of like director's cuts where there was like studio interference and they didn't make like the movie they wanted to make. Like this is one of those it's like an extended cut that just seems like a basically just an alternate ending version, almost like I Am Legend if you think about it.
kinda. Like it adds a scene. Like it's not like the film, the original version. Like that scene is just cut. It's not like they have a different ending. It's just like they still have the exact same scenes. They just add a new one at the end. It's like it doesn't really feel like I Am Legend, where it's genuinely like two different endings. It's more just like adding on to the ending, like having a little something else at the end instead of just ending at saying like, "Oh, Rango was the hero," and then ending at that, just playing the credit song. Like, there's a little bit more there. You see when you watch that version, you get what I mean. It's just like it's not like an alternate ending. It's just an extended ending. Like there is an extra scene, but the ending of the film is basically the same regardless.
Mm.
And yeah, as you said, he focuses more on the townspeople as well instead of just Rango, which I like. But
Yeah.
yeah, what did you think of Rango's character?
I liked him. It's funny because I was saying that he's a bit of a blank slate, but like his key trait is like theatricality and just
Hmm.
being like bold and like presenting himself out, like putting himself out there, and that like there's it creates a lot of like good comedy, and it just makes for entertaining scenes with him. Like one of the most entertaining is when the bank or like when they figure out that there's like so little water in the bank, and then he just starts drinking
He's
from the
like,
tap
so
and like
let's say you want to have a drink, and then he just grabs a drink from the water, and you,
I'll
well,
take it
you're
down
thirsty,
first.
and you do a double shot. And then he drinks 2 cups, and then
Just
the
go.
water just, as he says, we have 6 days left of water, and then air fills the water tank, and he's just like 5 days left of water, and everyone looks pissed at him. It's great.
Yeah, and you've seen him trying to get a drink of water the entire movie.
Yeah.
Like, when it's there, he just can't resist it. It's hilarious, and there's a lot of scenes like that where he's just like, spinning tails, and it's just great to see his confidence. And Johnny Depp's performance is really good too. This is one of those that is like a role that only works with their actor. Like Robin Williams has a ton of those performances, and like this is one that it feels made for him.
Oh yeah, and it's super interesting because I don't know if you've seen the behind the scenes of how they shot the movie, but they actually like shot the
Yeah,
entire movie, and then
it's great.
they
I
animated
can't
from the
I can't
actors.
believe like they I don't think anyone else has really done that, but it makes a lot of sense. Like one of the things that stood out to me was the eyes. Like there was something about the spacing of the eyes and like the proportions of the characters. Like even though they're animals, like the faces like feel more human.
Mm.
I don't know if it's just something that like looks that way or if that's because they shot the movie that way, but like I don't know. I found the expressions on the faces like easier to, read than like, or at least more human looking than some other animated movies that I've seen.
Yeah,
But
it's super interesting because it looks kind of like realistic at the same time that like you can get every single like Western trope that they're doing in the movie with each character. Uh, and they have like the super unique character designs, but they, as you said, they also kind of feel human. You can tell the archetypes they're supposed to be, and you're like, that kind of actually reminds you of that. Like everything was the designs and the expressions were was done like beautifully. It's genuinely like the animation in this movie is one of my favorite like ever. It's not like to the level of like Spider-Verse, obviously, um, but the amount of
it's
attention to
pretty
detail is fucking insane.
well, especially like, wasn't this 2007?
To
Like this
2011,
was
2011,
2011. Okay, so it's more recent, but
yeah.
still,
But
like
it
this
still
is
looks really good for something like 13 years ago. I think that's pretty insane, honestly.
yeah, for it to look this good. I am very glad this won Best Animated Feature
Yeah.
because it's impressive to behold.
To be fair, I think it was actually up against some really tough competition that year. 2011,
2011.
2012 Oscars. Sorry. Um, I think people got mad that some other film didn't win. I try to remember which one. Uh, Here we go.
It wasn't Up, right?
Animated feature film Rango, A Cat in Paris. Oh, Kung Fu Panda 2. That's why. It was the
Ah,
same year as
I
Kung
thought
Fu Panda 2.
I thought that was 2012.
No, 2011 is when it came out.
Oh
2012
wow.
Oscars, yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, Kung Fu Panda 2. That's why. And to be fair, Kung Fu Panda 2 has a very very good claim for being just as good as Rango. Um I don't know which one is better. I mean, I prefer Rango, but that's me personally. I've had discussions with friends for a long time about that some people love Kung Fu Panda 2, but I think Rango is so underrated. Even though it won an Oscar for Best Animated Feature, so maybe it's not that underrated, but you get what I mean. I don't see people talking
Yeah.
about it all that much, and to this day, it's a film that really gets me every time I watch it. I really enjoy it. Um, like I've seen this movie like 5 times, like probably four in the past 3 years, because you're like recording it for Ecom and just talking about wanting to rewatch it just because I was like, man, I'm in the mood for some animated stuff. Because a lot of the time I'm like, I want to watch like something that's like lighthearted and fun. It's hard to like find a movie like that, unless it's like a children's movie, and I find like children's movie a lot of the times, as you said, like they're sanitized. I really don't feel this way with Rango, so it's just like it's a movie that really doesn't like hold your hand, and it kind of like I really like this type of story as well. I told you already, especially because of how much I like Dan Harmon, but just this self-referential stuff I find really fascinating to watch when it's done well. And I mean, this was the same around the same time as Community was coming out, so maybe you got some inspiration from that. But it genuinely it feels like a Dan Harmon. Then if Dan Harmon made an animated movie, and I kind of love it.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but
Oh yeah.
maybe some leaning, but it's I can see that with like deconstruction and
Hmm.
how self-aware Dan Harmon's work is.
Yeah. I think
I,
I just sorry, you go.
Well, I was just gonna go off topic for a second. A specific joke I have to like. This had me rolling. I was so surprised. I love Ray Winston's character in the bar when he's like intimidating Rango, and he's got the cigar. And then there's just this moment where you're waiting to see what Rango does, and he just takes the
Takes the
cigar,
cigar.
eats it, and then the
Drinks the
guy pours
cactus
him the
juice.
shot. And like, you are expecting like anything else other than that. Like you're expecting the classic, just like like finally he snaps and can't keep a straight face, and then he like burps fire, and it's like it's so bold and it's so like just unexpected that like I was cracking up. It was so funny.
Yeah, it is just genuinely a really funny movie. I really love the
Yeah.
comedy.
Yeah, the birds with the instruments, like the band that like they have to remind when they're writing, like to cut to the scene. There's like they make a lot of good humor from
Yeah.
them. So
Well, that actually reminds me
and
of something I wanted to ask. What did you think of the idea that like they kept saying, "Oh, Rango's gonna die," and then he doesn't actually die by the end?
I I don't know. I was like I wish they'd drawn more attention to it with the death and rebirth thing, like I was saying with the highway. I maybe they didn't want to address it because they'd get in trouble or something, but like you said it yourself. He goes through the hero's journey, and this whole movie is about that. So in a way, he kind of dies at the end to get his victory. But I don't know. I don't know if they just did that to just make it seem like there was more of an element of danger and that he wasn't invincible. But like, I mean, I thought that they would kill him off, honestly, considering how many times they reminded him. Like, this has got to lead to something, or maybe there's going to be like a fake out death or
Hmm.
something. But I don't know.
Yeah, because for me, the idea is like they keep saying he's gonna die, and for adult audiences, he does die. You're like you can tell. Oh, okay, this is the moment where he dies. When he goes into the highway. But for kids, they're like, no, they don't understand it. So the ending is just saying like, oh yeah, no, he's gonna die from a household accident or something. I just think it's just like being like we acknowledge that he died in the sense of the hero's journey, which adults might notice, but kids probably won't. So I think it's just like if they say he's gonna die and he does in a story sense, but not in like a more literal sense, I guess. So for me, it's fine. It's for like the movie trying to be like, it's for both audiences, adults watching it being like, okay, I get it, he died, and for kids just being like, oh, so it's just a funny joke about him dying, uh, instead of like thinking he actually died, because children wouldn't understand like just what the hero's journey is. That was my interpretation anyway of like the entire idea of saying he was gonna die, instead of just like as you said like trying to add stakes onto it. I because I feel like the stakes were pretty clear without them saying he was gonna die over and over again. Um, so yeah, that's my idea anyway.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of other specifics. One of the things that ties into the animation for me is how experimental like some of the scenes are. Like I because you know when people like talk about like a movie being experimental, like what I mean by that is like the animation, like the dance scene, like where they're or I don't know how to describe it, but like the ritual that everyone in the town does when they like go to get water and they all like have a bit of a dance that they do. There's a lot of like scenes where they mess around with like what the animation can do, and it almost seems like they're flexing. Like I like the chase with the hawk, for instance, is another one of those where like how the bottle works is kind of insane. And I lost my train of thought. Holy shit! What was I talking about before? Like them showing off what they could do with the animation.
Hmm.
I like
Oh yeah, there's some scenes where I'm
I
just like, you just want to show how cool you are at animating. Like that entire canyon scene with the bats and the
Oh,
fucking
yeah, where
entire
they're
chase is
riding the
phenomenal.
bats.
Yeah, and Ride of the
It's
Valkyries plays. It's fucking amazing.
I was stunned at that scene. I'm like, "We're full doing Western Mad Max." Like, it reminded me a little of The Amazing Digital Circus. It's like it's such a crazy, like, scene that seems like it's, like, misplaced in an animated project, but and I not to mention, I could only imagine how, like, complicated this must have been to put together. Like, I don't even know what they would have done, like, to the 'cause you'd have the flight scenes, then you'd have them, like, on the ground, and you'd have to, like, animate all the backgrounds, and then obviously the details of the canyon itself. It's like, this must have been I'm guessing this is up there with, like, expensive scenes this movie, if not the most
Oh
expensive
yeah, that's
movie.
for sure the most expensive, no doubt. But I mean, it's fucking
Yeah.
worth it. It is such a good scene. It's one of my favorite scenes in the movie. Like the soundtrack is phenomenal. Just like the entire action
Yeah,
sequence and the attention to detail with every single little bit of animation. Like there's some characters who are like there's one that is firing a shotgun. And he's just like cocking it every time he shoots. Like it spins it around.
yeah,
It's so much detail. It's so great.
yeah. It's pretty impressive stuff. I loved the music in that scene. Hans Zimmer's score is really good.
It is.
It's funny. I 'Cause they use Ride of the Valkyries and they use a lot of cues. I In the 3rd act, I swear, I don't know if you know this, but in the 3rd Pirates of the Caribbean movie, they use the theme from, Once Upon a Time in the West at, or, like, one of the musical themes that Morricone used instead of the scene where, everybody meets on that tiny island,
Hmm.
and there's a hint of that in the song that they play at the end, and there's a couple other, like, cues from Morricone, like the watch chimes, like, I tons of people were inspired by, like, Western music by Ennio Morricone, but, like, Hans Zimmer's one of those, and it's just great seeing him, like, get, like, his own Western score to make here with, like,
Yeah.
classic Western scenes.
Yeah, and he just works really. It's kind of funny because Hans Zimmer's the type of composer where you can tell when he gives a shit, like what he does, and it's quite clear in his soundtracks. Like, yeah,
Yeah,
he just couldn't care less. And you could tell he gave a
a
shit
lot
about this movie. He was really invested in making this movie great because his soundtrack is like 50% of why this movie is so great is the soundtrack because it is genuinely phenomenal. I love the soundtrack of this movie and I listen to it all the time. My favorite is like We Ride, like the when Rango says we ride it ba 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 ba. It's so high tempo, it's so fun. It's just like hell yeah, we're actually going like for a ride with Rango. It's like it feels so earnestly awesome. Like the movie knows that what it's showing with its characters is super cool, and the soundtrack is just like hell yeah, this is cool. Let's fucking do this. You know, I kind of love that when movies are like aren't afraid to say like we're enjoying what we're doing, like we're having fun with what we're making. You know, and I feel that throughout the entire movie.
yeah. It's just basic boldness. I've talked about this, something that I like wish more movies would do. Just, be super expressive and just bold and willing to like do crazy things. And music, like you said with Hans Zimmer, when he doesn't give a shit, it just blends. And I'm sorry, you can usually tell with composers when they just phone it in. Raymond Djawadi's another one of those.
Michael
Is
Giacchino.
this yeah, there are some scores where it's like, seriously, Michael Giacchino did this, the guy did The Incredibles and Up, like,
The guy
you're
who
telling
did
me he did the
Lost, he
score to
did
this?
this. Like, okay, man.
Yeah,
Especially
but
with
this is
the Marvel stuff he does, I'm just like, okay, sure, that's you, Michael Giacchino. He did the Batman and like No Way Home basically the same year. It's hilarious.
yeah, but music is amazing and one of the more memorable from Hans Zimmer, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I just love the vibe it gets because, like you said, like it's him doing a proper Western score for a Western movie, and the vibe of the Western in this movie is so perfectly done. But when you think about it, it's so absurd that it's these bunch of lizards and like birds living in a town called Dirt, like a tiny town because like they're animals that live in a human world.
Which Yeah, which takes place in the real world. That's the funny thing. It's a
Yeah,
Western technically, but it's like this is like, the classic, animals that like are, humanoid, but then like the real world, because that like Rango full out falls out of a car. He was a
yeah,
pet.
yeah. He
So
was a pet before, which I think is kind of amazing. Like when he just the idea of like he already always had this life where he was boxed inside and he's forced thrust upon into the story. It's exactly what he says. I love the line. It's like we need an unexpected ironic event that thrusts our hero into conflict, and then the car just crashes. The car just bounces and the box just crashes around on the road. But like if you see like from that beginning, you just feel like, yeah, this is the first this character, the sorry, this world is just like the real world. And so when he gets onto the road, it just becomes a western, like you said, with the like them showing how hot the desert is. Like everything is just built to make the western vibe work. But it's so funny to think that it's like supposed to be basically in the real world. Every time it's stuff like this, I'm just like, I wonder what humans think. Have they stumbled upon the fucking tiny town called Dirt that was built by a fucking turtle? Like, I just think that's it's such a fun concept. I like that the movie, and I liked it as well. Like part of the really big part of Rango's character is just being a movie nerd, and and so like the spirit of the West being Clint Eastwood, also voiced by Timothy
yeah,
Oliphant really well.
that that was great. I found that really funny and ironic. I don't know if they just couldn't get Clint Eastwood, if it was like a little too hard to pull that off, or if like they just went with him because he's like kind of recognized as the modern gunslinger, like, kind of the a follow-up to Clint Eastwood. It's
Yeah.
like what's his show that he's in that didn't he do one for HBO that was like a Western show that he's known for?
I think so, yeah, Timothy Oliphant. It's Justified, right?
Yeah, I think that's probably it.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard it's good. And I mean, I like Timothy Oliphant, but yeah, I thought it was great that he he voiced Clint Eastwood. But I just love like he's a film nerd, and so the version of like his guide is just the most famous like Western hero of all time. He even says, "Oh, they used to call you the man with no name," and it's fun because Rango also has no name. Like he just picked a name because because of
Yeah.
the drink he had on his hand. Like I think it just worked really well as like an homage to westerns. It's so heartwarming in a way, just like seeing people make a movie about how much they love a specific type of movie, and it is so different from everything else Gore Verbinski makes. Like, what a wild filmmaker he is.
Yeah, it's so hard to find any like through line with his work because all of them feel so different. But yeah, like this doesn't feel like Pirates or anything else he made. It's just its
Yeah,
own deal. It's weird how that works because I haven't seen all of his movies, but like They do not
Well,
blend,
it's
that's
the
for sure.
same guy who did A Cure for Wellness that Rango. It's really funny to think about.
Yeah.
And
I'm
he's
so
actually
sad that
working
that
on another movie that's in post production right now.
Oh, he is.
Yeah,
Interesting. I didn't know that.
I forgot the name. It's a bit of a funny name, but the movie I kind of like the concept. There's this guy who travels back in time and he shows up in a bar and needs to recruit people to help him save the world. And from an evil AI, and I
Oh,
think Gore Verbinski could make that really fun.
uh, maybe Gore Verbinski could make
I mean,
that fun,
it
but
sounds
that's
kind of generic, but it's like when it's like Gore
it sounds
Verbinski.
really
Well,
generic.
yeah, but like I like generic when it's filmmakers I like and I trust. I'm like, ooh, you can make this really fun instead of just being like, oh, another one of these, you know? Because if it was just like another filmmaker, it was fucking J.J. Abrams. I'm like, okay, it's the most generic movie you've ever seen, but Gore Verbinski, it'll definitely be memorable with him.
Hmm.
It sounds
Yeah,
it does sound generic, but I don't know. I'm kind of excited.
I'm excited for anything that he makes, like especially since like he was in quasi retirement given Cure for Wellness. So
Yeah, poor guy, man.
I
And Q for One isn't bad. That movie just uh
well, it's the weirdest thing for him in general. Like I don't think he's recognized as a filmmaker as much. Like people like the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, but I for some reason I don't feel like people attribute the quality of those movies to Verbinski himself. It's more so Johnny Depp or
yeah,
like
everyone talks about
it,
Johnny Depp. Nobody talks about him, which is a
yeah,
shame,
I
man.
was
Like he directed all three, right?
yeah. Yeah, and they have their problems, but like they're still three pretty solid movies that people like connect to and find like really interesting and
Mm-hmm.
engaging and he's done a lot and he's not I don't think he has like the type of prestige to his name that like I think he deserves.
Yeah, I mean he he won an Oscar for best animated feature, so he should have a little bit more street cred, but I guess not.
Yeah. I don't I don't know if he's ever gonna make this again. This might be like a Del Toro's Pinocchio thing where it's like that's what I always find that funny when someone's only done live action basically, and then they just do an animated movie and then they just kind of move on. It's like, oh, it's like so we just get a hint of like, that whole animated awesomeness thing with you.
Yeah. I do wish he would make more animated stuff because he clearly has a talent for the way he tells stories with animation. Like he can be so much more expressive with that. Well, it's kind of just why I love animation in general and why I think it's just super undervalued as an art form because you can be so creative with animation to a level that you can't really with live action. I mean, you can with a lot harder work, I guess, but animation just gives you a lot of freedom to work with stuff that uh would be harder to do in live action. And I just find that like perfect. Like you could make a movie about a gunslinger uh lizard in live action, and it works as well as it does because it's animated, because of the just like the pure passion you can see behind the animation. So yeah, I do wish he would do more stuff. Not a Rango sequel though. I want to make that clear. No more Rango, because the way stuff is nowadays, they're probably gonna do a Rango remake or some bullshit. So no, let's not.
They al- they already did Chicken Run too, so I wouldn't be surprised if we get a Rango 2 at some point.
I hope not. It's Nickelodeon. It's
Yeah.
not Disney, so who knows? Maybe they have more sense.
We have got to talk about Rattlesnake Jake as
Oh,
well, because
I was about to mention him.
I
First off,
I did not
Bill Nye, man, he's so good.
super, like, underappreciated actor, like, it's so funny seeing this and, Davy Jones from and I mean, that's why because it's Gore Verbinski, so he probably got him because he'd already worked with him, but, like, so intimidating, so menacing, and, like, Bill Nye plays a really good villain in
Yeah.
terms of just, like, having a sharpness to his words and, like, a sarcasm to, like, his character.
Well,
And
it's
he's
kind of what
barely
I
in the movie,
love
but
is
yeah.
that he is a snake, both in a literal and a metaphorical sense. He talks so sly, so like, as you said, sarcastic. It's so unique. Like you think about the words he says, like "what a snake," and he's a literal snake. It's great. And as well, I
Yeah.
love the
And
design, the rattlesnake Jake. There's a fucking in his
yeah,
rattle. There's a like a
a
minigun.
Gatling gun.
Yeah,
Yeah. I didn't watch his scenes because I wanted to like watch them in context, but I'd seen his design and I was like, holy shit, that goes hard.
it
It's
goes
like
so hard. I love the character designs in
it's
this movie, but Rattlesnake Jake is top by far, man.
I mean, it seems like something that like a kid would make, like some kid trying to be cool, like I'll have like belts around the whole snake, and he'll have a gun on his tail. It sounds so like juvenile and cringe on paper, but it's like they just own it and they just make it work.
That's what I
So
was saying though. This movie is just like it is not afraid to be cool. It's like, man, this is cool. Let's do it instead of like the stupid Marvel stuff that would like be like self-referential in the sense of like, oh man, this thing we're doing, it's so uncool, right? It's so cringe, like extremely like Deadpool type of stuff. Like it feel like this movie just embraces how cool it is with every aspect of it. It's just like, hell yeah, we're doing a western and it's a fucking cool western, you know. It's what I love about that. Like Rattlesnake Jake's design is amazing, and as you said, it feels like a thing a kid would do, but in a good way. Like a kid just thinking, "Man, that's cool," and you're like, "You know what? You were making a kids movie. It is cool. Why not do it?"
yeah,
But
because
sorry, you go.
well, all I was gonna say is like really, really good villain, and as well as that, I'm so glad they just play him completely straight. It reminded me a little bit of Death in Puss in Boots: The Last Wish.
Kinda, yeah.
Like it felt like the looming death that they kept talking about because that's the other thing they keep referencing that
Oh,
Rango's gonna die,
yeah.
and he
And they
felt like
even there's a character that even says Jake's coming. He's the Reaper. He never leaves here without a soul. So it's just like cool.
yep, very ominous, and like it was so funny seeing his character played so straight because like that was what surprised me when I was watching Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. I'm like, I don't remember the last time I've seen a kids movie that had a villain that was like straight up this scary, and it's like
Hmm.
it's great having a movie that's like that where it's like, yeah, they do not hold back at all with him. So
Yeah. I mean, just as a foil to Rango, I kind of find him amazing, but I kind of love the idea that they find an understanding in each other through like the Western tropes that they both represent. When they realize that the mayor was not actually helping Jake, he was just like using him. This is like, yeah, now let's get rid of him. And Jake is just like, you know what, fuck you.
I love all the way, but by the way that like Bill and I already worked with Verbinski for the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, and it's like the actor that plays the mayor is the same actor who plays Lotso instead of Toy Story 3. So he'd
Oh,
already played a similar like sly like villain who's like deceptive, like puts on a show, but
uh,
like in actuality like hides his
yeah.
evilness. Yeah.
Though he hides a little less in this movie than he does in the Toy Story 3, I'd say.
I mean, I found it funny that like it just they didn't even it seemed like he wasn't even trying. He was just like, yeah, I'm evil and I'm just in
Yeah.
every scene I'm gonna like act as like I have the best intentions in this town and like I just want everyone to be happy. It's like, oh yeah, sure you do.
Yeah. It's great. It's just like, oh, you control the water, you control everyone. Like you're just telling everyone your plan. Like, but I do kind of like love it in a way because it is the classic Western trope of like modern times coming to destroy our tiny little Western town. And the Western town wins by the end. But I kind of like that, like they still end up modernizing once they get the water at the end in the
Yeah.
extended cut. It's just like, you know what? Maybe we do this. It's just we don't
Well,
need
and
to
I mean,
control the water to do it. We don't need to hurt the people to do it. Um, So yeah, I
Well, it's
kind of
kind
love
of ironic about the, like, setting itself, because like, for instance, there's so many modern, like, technologies, like the vending machine with the hawk, for instance, it's
yeah.
just a vending machine that's just in the town, so it's like that's what's so unique about, like, the way the movie's put together is, like, there's elements of, like, the modern world, and then there's, like, elements of Western, and then, like, and then there's just other parts just feel like they're just doing their own thing, and they're not, like, trying to be anything else, just
Uh,
being themselves.
yeah. It's such a unique movie. Because you mentioned the vending machine. It's like it's part of what we said. It's the real world that this world is set in, but it's also actually not the real world. Um, because they have their own little universe within this world. Um, but it just reminded me, I don't know why, but one of my favorite lines in the movie is when they go to do the that theater piece for to distract everyone at the canyon just before the big fight, and then they say, "Oh, they're traveling thespians. Thespians? That's banned in 7 states." That's one
Yeah,
of my favorite jokes in the
I
movie.
I cracked up at that. That was like a full out like you can always recognize the jokes that are like meant directly for the adults, and
Yeah.
that was one of those that I was like, "Oh my god!" Like so many parents must have been like, like "What is it, Dad? Nothing." It's
Yeah, that's what I
it's
love
just
about this movie because I said last episode when we were talking about Groundhog Day that this movie is my Groundhog Day. I watched it as a kid. It came out when I was 8, and I just rewatch it nowadays, and it's just like it's such a completely different experience. Like watching it now, I appreciate it a lot more. Like as a kid, it's like, oh, cool, cool western, but for kids, so it's not as scary. Because when I was a kid, I used to be really scared of like westerns and stuff that was like super like R rated. Even though my dad let me watch them, like I watched Alien when I was like 8 or something. Like I don't know why, but I watched all Alien movies with my dad when I was like really young, and those scarred me for life. But like I was just like, cool, a western for me, a kid. But nowadays I'm just like, nah, man, this movie's made like it may be a kids movie, but I think it's made for adults. Like the way the movie's structured, the entire like idea of the story just feels so mature for a children's movie. It is so special. I love this movie. I rewatch it all the time, and it's just like it's always such a fun experience. It's great.
Yeah, and it doesn't like, talk down to kids either, and a lot of like something I don't know about you. I have a tough time with like self-aware cringe in movies, like especially kids movies, like where they make jokes or like I mean, the classic one, like, and I'll point to it here because they do it in this movie is when he goes into the bar and everyone's like acting stone, and then he's like, "Can I have a glass of water?" and everyone laughs. Like I've seen that in so many different kids movies of like the entire town like he wanted a glass of water. Ha! It's like it. They don't draw it out though. Instead of this movie, like it's
Hmm.
just right away everyone cracks up and like there's an element of that to like a lot of the stories that Rango tells and like people tracking like the one bullet like killing the 7 guys, for instance.
It's
Like
just like
I
that was 6 guys. Well, the other one died of infection.
yeah, but so much of the jokes and so much of like, the townspeople just buying into his stories, like it feels funny and it feels authentic and it
Hmm.
doesn't like again, it doesn't feel like self-aware cringe. It feels like just their style of
Yeah.
humor and what they're going for.
If yeah,
But
it
by
is
the way,
self-aware but not self-aware cringe.
yeah. I think that's at a different part. I think it's in like the light painting with like the fire, which by the way, that was a really cool effect. And when
Yeah,
he's talking about the spirit of the West, but
it look great.
that was a tiny joke that cracked me up. Is when he sits on the stick, he's like, "It's a metaphor," and then it flies off. Ow, my eye! It's like it's not even like it doesn't even sound painful. It's just such a funny like the stick goes off screen and then someone confirms
Ow,
that
my eye.
stick landed in an eye. You just you just think about that. Like it's like that was such a hilarious little, off-screen humor.
Yeah.
Like Yeah, this movie's hilarious.
Well, it's
It's
actually,
really
I don't
funny,
know
and I
why
could
when you said that, it reminded me of another one of the jokes. It's clearly just for adults, but when Rango lands on one of the, well, it's not a horse, but their version of horse,
yeah,
and the guy's
I
on
think the
there.
Roadrunners.
Yeah, Roadrunners, yeah. And there's already a guy on there, and Rango lands on him, and he's wearing a dress, and the dress is over his head, and then he takes off the dress over his head, and he just says, "That was not at all unpleasant." I think that joke is
Yeah,
hilarious too.
definitely there for the adults and very funny.
Yeah.
So
Oh, hilarious movie, absolutely. There's like 10 out of 10 humor. I've seen this movie many times and I still crack up every time I watch it.
yeah, I'd have to think like again in terms of rating. I'd say the one thing that like held it back a little bit for me is it
Mm.
is very cliched. Like for a reason based on like what the story they're telling, but it really like goes through the motions of like this type of a story, just of like the hero that arrives and like the evil person in the town and the conspiracy and like it doesn't really do anything like innovative with like the story itself, at least the macro stuff. But
Well,
it's one of those things that isn't necessarily a problem though
yeah, I
because of
don't think
like
it's really a problem because like the story may be cliche, but like the characters are so unique and like just everything about the movie is unique other than like the cliche story.
yeah.
And the story is cliche because Rango is trying to make it like a western because he loves watching westerns, so it's like even justified in universe, I guess. I don't know, I think it's fine, but I kind of get like maybe you're you find it a little boring just to watch the exact same uh cowboy story
Well,
you've seen 1,000 times before, but I like
Well, I
it.
mean, and you can it's the whole thing, you can argue that every cowboy movie is like the same story every time, and it's just a matter of like the storytelling
Uh-huh.
itself. Like, every movie can have the same plot, but if they're told unique, then there you go. And this
This is
and
very
this
unique.
movie in terms of yeah, like in terms of storytelling, like this is one hell of an entertaining ride. So
Yeah.
yeah. I in terms of just rant like one of the early scenes that like stood out to me was the hawk. Like everything they did with so for one, the initial desert chase. Because in terms of trailers, that was all I knew. I did not watch the trailers for this movie, but I'd seen the initial teaser with in the desert where he's like blend in and he like grabs onto the cactus and all that and like so I knew that he like ran away from a hawk at some point, but man, they made that thing scary as hell. And it's like
Yeah.
it full out feels like, in terms of scale, like he's being chased down by like a fighter plane when he's like on foot and obviously the bottle and like all the things Rango does to try to escape and like how big and menacing the hawk is like it gets crazy. But
Yeah,
that was
it's kind of what I love because that scene already kind of introduces the dynamic of the movie, where it's like it's Rango fumbling through every scene because like he wants to be the hero of the story and he ends up like getting thrown into the hero role when he's not fit for it. And the only time where he has an active role in the plot where he actually like helps people, he has a plan and everything, is when after he talks to the spirit of the West. Before that, he was always like fumbling his way through everything and somehow stuff kind of just worked out. And it kind of like I really like
yeah,
that
that
like from the beginning like Rango is just like fumbling his way and surviving somehow, and it all works out for some reason, and until
that
it
is
doesn't.
that is my other thing is that like the movie's very like luck oriented, at least like in terms of what like Rango gets away with. Like so much of it comes down to like chance. Like how he kills the hawk, for instance. Like he just was trying to cut the rope and then it ends up like Rube Goldberg machining it and like it kind of works out in the end. Like he is a very lucky character, and I don't know if there was like a reasoning for that in the story, like
Well,
like on a thematic
well,
level,
that's
and they
what I'm
were
saying.
like,
Like, I think the idea is that like he's fumbling his way through until Rattlesnake Jake calls him out, and he's
well,
finally like made to accept that he's not the hero he claims to be. Like he's just been faking his way through everything in this film. Like he's pretended to be the hero until he actually accepts his role as the hero. by saying that, by realizing that it wasn't about him, it was about the people in the town. Like,
Yeah.
I think
I,
it thematically works to like have him fumbling his way through the movie until he he dies and talks to the spirit of the West, and you're like, oh, okay, like now he has an active role. Now he actually knows what to do. Like now he's actually the hero once he's given up like his sense of self in favor of helping like the town, which might be a little
yeah.
too much for kids, but you kind of get the idea. Which again is what
Yeah.
I say. This movie is very mature for a children's movie. It feels made for adults more so than made for kids.
It does. And yeah, it's a great Western. It's funny because it, like I said, it is a cliched movie, but it's a whole it's the difference between like story and storytelling. Like
Yeah.
this movie is just really good at being a Western, and it's got bold animation, the music's really good, and it's just all around a great film. And great for kids and adults. Like it's a great family movie. Like it's the thing. It's like this is not a baby movie. This is a movie that like families, like adults and kids alike can enjoy and will get something out of it. So
Yeah, that's how I feel too. All right, well, I feel like we've maybe reached the logical end to this discussion. Um,
I think so. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to talk and like I feel like I've undersold this movie maybe because this is really good.
It
But
is
yeah.
really good. I'm glad you enjoyed
Me-
it. I was afraid you wouldn't like it, like the Fall Guy. It
No,
would
I
have been a
definitely
little
prefer
fun.
this. So I don't. I'm like I didn't rate it though on like Letterboxd or anything like that, and I am still undecided on like where I would like put this at a 10 or something like that. But it's on the upper side. I wouldn't give this like lower than a 7 or anything like that. I'd have to think in terms of like how high I'd put it though.
Hmm. Yeah, I know I'm not a huge fan of number ratings in general. I
Yeah,
I do rate stuff with numbers on Letterboxd, but it's always take that with a pinch of salt because for me it's just like it's just how I feel about the movie. It may be a movie that's not that great, but I just really enjoy it, so I'll just rate it highly. Or the opposite, where it's like a really well made film, but I don't enjoy it that much, so I'll give it like a 5 or a 6. And when like in terms of how well made it is, probably higher. So like number ratings are extremely arbitrary and subjective. So always always prefer this type of discussion where it's just like, yeah, we enjoyed the movie, but there's no specific like, oh, I rate this out of 10. It's like I don't like being that
yeah.
objective about like something that's super like ethereal, I guess. It's so hard to like quantify.
Well, and it's also hard to compare like different movies. Like, how do you compare something like this to 2001: A Space Odyssey? Like,
Yeah.
I always love that when you give like two movies a 5 star, and you're like, is this on like the same level of quality as like that? Like, it's just like it's the answer, of course, is no. But it's like it's stupid to just compare them like in the first place. So it's just like, yeah,
Yeah.
I've always loved Jeremy Johns' way of rating movies. Like it, I think it's the better way to go.
He
Like to
just
have
gives a
like a
thumbs up or down, right?
range. Well, no, Ebert did that. He's got like, you won't remember it in T minus like 1 day. Like better if you're drunk, like worth watching, worth like buying on Blu-ray. Awesome Tacular is like his top of the mountain. I think he's got like 6, but they're just like what I've always loved about Jeremy Johns is he has like kind of almost recommendations. Like they feel like the type of review you'd get from like someone that you just like watch the movie within the theater and just like gives you a range of like what like the movie experience is going to be like rather than like out of 10 or anything super specific.
Yeah, that sounds like one of the best ways, yeah.
Do you not watch Jeremy Johns?
No, I've actually never watched him.
How could you? Wait, seriously, you haven't?
Yeah,
Wow,
seriously.
he's been around a while. I like him. He's the film critic that I've followed the most, like consistently, and like I'd argue like might be one of the better like film critics on YouTube. I
Yeah.
just even if I disagree with him, or even if I like don't watch like the movie, like his videos themselves are very entertaining, and I found him like very consistent. I did. Did you see the controversy with him? Well, no, because you're not on Twitter.
No, but I know about it. The I am I
Wha-
racist? The
Yeah, with Matt Walsh's movie. Yeah, he reviewed it, and like he get what did he? I think he said like he gave it a thumbs up review, or he
he
said like
did, yeah.
good time, no alcohol required. He said he found Matt Walsh funny, which
Which I think is
I
absurd, but like to each their own, I
I
guess.
yeah, I would be shocked if I honestly don't imagine the people that like Matt Walsh would like think he's necessarily funny. I don't think it's controversial to say he's not a very funny individual, but I don't know. I haven't seen the movie. I found it funny because it was such a tame, vanilla review of the movie. He really did not make it like particularly political at all, or even like side on like what the film was talking about. He was just reviewing it as a movie. So yeah, I, I don't know how we got on this track, but Jeremy Johns is funny, and yeah, I like his reviews a lot. And oh, that was it. Just the rating systems. Like it's not necessarily better to rate movies 1 out of 10, and I like what Jeremy Johns does as a system. It's like an alternative.
Yeah. So yeah. With that said, Rango 10 out of 10, perfect movie. No, no.
7, maybe higher for me, but yeah.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for watching. And Evan, what do you
Well,
recommend for next week?
so my recommendation, if you have not seen it, have you seen Ford v Ferrari?
I have. I love that movie.
You have
I watched it in theaters. I
okay.
watched it on
I don't think
IMAX. Yeah.
oh man, I watched it in theater. Oh, that was I think I watched it in theaters with and then after that I watched Trey Edward Schultz's Waves. Like that was such a wild double feature. Yeah, I watched a ton of movies in 2019 in theaters. It was with the
Me
pre-COVID
too.
days. I was in college,
2019
and
was such a good year for movies. There were so many
it
movies I went out to
was
theaters to watch. I genuinely must have gone to theaters like 40 times that year. There was so much good stuff.
yeah, that was one that I loved. If you've seen that, then I've got an alternative.
Mm.
Have you seen Deadpool and Wolverine
Oh
yet?
no, you're gonna force me to watch Deadpool and Wolverine. How dare you? I was avoiding that movie. No.
Ah, why not? Why not? I'm like, you know what? I haven't seen. People keep. So my brothers have recommended it. They both liked it. They didn't like say it was lighting the world on fire, but it's like a lot of people have been recommending it to me. I've heard that Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds are really good, and it's like it's been a while since I've watched a Marvel movie, so I'm like, you know what? Maybe I'll give it a try. Maybe it actually is like really good. Maybe it's in like Guardians 3 like tier of modern Marvel movies.
I doubt
I don't
it'll
know.
be as good as Guardians 3, but sure. I think it's still in theaters. I'm gonna need to go to theaters to watch it.
Yeah, I might see it in theaters if it's still there for me, but
Uh,
I don't know.
all right. Well, the
Yeah, that's my
next
pick.
week.
Deadpool and Wolverine. We're
Yeah.
going conventional for us.
Uh,
Reviewing popular movies.
yeah, cringe. All right. Well, we'll see you next time then, next week, folks, with Deadpool and Wolverine. Um,
See you next week.
don't blame me. Blame Evan. I had no clue he was doing this.
I inflicted it on you.
All right. See you,
Oh, bye.
folks.
See you next week.